So over on the blue side today we have ML Alexander and Serega, and over on the red side we have Random and Hunter with WTF into space. So that's ML Alexander and Serega with still Balalaika. And this is Highway to Seoul. So interesting to see this map come out again. We've seen it multiple times in the tournament so far.
We have. I think this will be the third. No, it'll be the fourth time maybe. Or third, I'm not sure. Either way, I think this is definitely, with this game being played, this is the most played map so far, which is interesting.
Yeah, so I think it's our third time on this map, and I'm quite interested because it's one of the newer maps, and you didn't really expect it to be like incredibly competitive with the way that they brought it out, and a lot of the changes to the tree lines and so on. It's actually quite a different map to what it used to be in the previous games. So I didn't expect it to become such a competitive map, but it seems that both teams vetoed down to this map, and let's get the game underway. So,
You want to count us in?
Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. So what decks are we looking at, Val?
Right, so I was right. And Alexander has an Eastern Bloc Mechanized, and Serega has his USSR Armored deck. And that deck from Serega is brutal. Something to really look out for. Me and Meso, don't know if any of you know Meso, we played in the VTF Flash tourney not too long ago, the 2v2. And Serega absolutely wrecked both of us with that deck. It was a bit disgusting. The kind of control he had with the ATGMs was really something to look out for. And on the other side, Random is running a Eastern Bloc deck, and Hunter is running a Sovco deck, a Soviet Korean deck.
Okay, so I'm quite interested to see these two red 4 sides clash in this one. I'm definitely excited to see how ML Alexander handles his forces with that Eastern Bloc deck. I've really enjoyed watching the Mochutsen flood into the other teams, but I mean, in some cases they have been pushed back. I think it was the replay between Razman and Nandimanai against Amberty and Putin. Yeah, that replay where Razman used his Commonwealth deck to actually blow up a lot of those Mochutsen quite easily with the Centurion AVREs and other Blue 4 forces was very interesting. But we are probably going to see like Mochutsen go up against each other in this one, so I think it's definitely going to be a lot more of a tactical game going forwards.
It is. I mean, you have to remember that Alexander has a Eastern Bloc Mechanized, I think it is. Yep, Eastern Bloc Mechanized. Whereas Random just has an Eastern Bloc General. So, on the one hand, Alexander won't have the super heavy tanks like the Moderna and the Twardy to look out for, but on the other hand, though, his infantry will be, I believe, slightly higher veteran, and also he'll get a lot more of it. And as we know, with Mochutsen and BMP1s, you can throw them around pretty much anywhere, and they'll probably end up making you points in the trade. So.
Yeah, we've also got some Scott 2s there, which means we might see something like, the Commandosi, which should be very cool. T90S there for Hunter. So that's 2 heavy tanks. We've got a T72 M2 Moderna. I absolutely love that tank because of the autocannon that it comes with. I just think it's so beast at sort of a medium range against medium and light armor. It can just absolutely wreck things. Over on the other side, however, we don't see many heavy tanks just yet. Maybe they haven't put them down.
We do. They're a bit hidden in there, but there's a BU and 2 OBR 1989s and a M2 Welk.
Indeed, sorry about that. T72 BU, yeah, and the T72 B OBRs. So they are pretty much matching up tank for tank almost. Those 2 OBRs are going to basically match up to one of the heavy tanks of Hunter, although Hunter's decided to bring in a T90S as well to support that T72 BU. So interesting that he's chosen to bring in one of each as opposed to 2 of the same. But I guess they do kind of fill a slightly different role, as the T72 BU does come with a ATGM, whereas the T90 does not.
That's definitely true, but it is interesting because they're both taken trained. That means that he has 2 of each in his deck, which is what I'd recommend anyway. But yeah, a bit interesting how he's gone with 1 of each. But One thing to look out for, I think, is if you look at these SPW-80s that Random has, I almost guarantee they'll have LSTR-80s in, or 40s in, should I say. And those guys are insanely good at the moment. They really are. You know, some people I know, so a good example would be Faust. Will literally start with like eight of them, and he will just send them around the map, and they will just do an amazing amount of work, because they can just deny enemy aircraft, specifically helicopters. And even more importantly than that, they have a amazing anti-tank RPG as well. So they really are just a threat to everything.
Yeah, that's definitely a prize unit to look out for, the LSTR, and it will be interesting to see if they can really do a lot of damage. Now, one thing I've noticed is that there are not as many helicopters as we've seen normally. Both sides, Serega and ML Alexander over on the left side here, have chosen to only bring 2 helicopters at the start, one Mi-2 and the THS Mi-24D. And over on the other side, there is only the Ka-29TB with the command infantry so far, which is a big contrast to yesterday, where we actually saw a lot of helicopter gameplay.
We did. We saw quite a few interesting pushes with the helicopters. You know, a lot of the better teams yesterday did some very nice kind of infantry landings and small pushes. And the thing with helicopters is that, you know, obviously assuming you're not doing a full heli rush, they just you know, afford you a really nice little foothold in kind of areas you're not really supposed to get to first. But obviously the big risk is they are expensive, and you know, if you buy a decent amount of helicopters, a mech deck, for example, will generally beat you, because the mech deck will just trudge along. It'll get to the point slower, but when it arrives there, it'll arrive with so much more oomph, because, you know, the units are generally more cost effective because the transports are much cheaper.
Yeah, so I was just having a look at the AA, seeing if both sides had adequate AA, and it looks like they do. Serega's going to be bringing in a Tunguska M there with a couple of Tors, and it looks like a Sepel for Alexander. And that's pretty much it on the blue side of things. Over on the red side, we have a couple of OSA AKs. We've got the Nuwa and the Strop 2. Now that Nuwa is awesome. It's like a tank with missiles on it. The armored version is very, very cool. And the range of those missiles is actually quite scary. I think it's just a bit shorter than the Patriot, isn't it?
A decent amount shorter. It's a pretty comparable to a Buck, I guess, is a good example. But we're off actually saying that.
Yeah, we're finally underway.
I do like the Never. It's a very nice A unit.
Yeah, so it does have 4,550 range, which is quite significant. 9 HE power, is able to crit one-shot aircraft, but also has 4 front armor, which makes it decent and survivable against bombs, which is something that comes in quite handy. Now, from the offset, a MiG-21 MF-75. Now, this has very good air detection, so it's probably just more of a scouting aircraft at the start here. Doesn't particularly have very good use against helicopters because it's very fast. It's got 1,000 km/h speed, so I wouldn't expect him to try and shoot anything down. Though, is he going for the Ka-29? Yes, he is.
But it does have a CV in, so if he takes that out...
Yeah, this is what I was saying, though. It can't shoot enough infrared missiles in time to shoot down a helicopter. Like, if it misses, and it basically sprayed its gun for like a second there, because it just doesn't have enough time. It moves way too quickly to shoot down aircraft, in my opinion. But it is definitely good for air detection at the start of the game, and can catch out enemy aircraft, I believe, with that speed. But either way, yeah, it did go down to the OSA AKs. They were told to stop, which was very good micromanagement from Hunter, and that meant that they get an early lead in terms of kills. And currently, though, the +1 lead for Alexander and Serega, that's not going to last very long. We're just sort of waiting for both teams to capture their sectors on closest to them.
We are indeed. Random has sent his fast-wheeled units up, and hopefully, or for him anyway, he's hoping to gain a little bit of positioning, maybe try and attack this sort of compound to the left side of Echo, which is really nice to get into for the red team.
Wow, Random pushing very, very far up. It looks like, yeah, he's going to push that compound, like you're saying. SPW-80s did a good job of wiping out one of the APCs, or was it just a Thatcher truck, maybe? The Strop 2 actually shot down the Mi-24, which came in with the FJB, so got rid of that little threat in the top side. And now these LSTR did make it into the building, which is going to be incredibly annoying for Saraga and these heavy tanks as they try to move forwards. You can see one of his OBRs did take a shot to the front armor and got taken down to 4 health already, which is crazy. So he's going to have to back away from that, and looks like the LSTR will be able to remain hidden in that building. Su-22 M4P coming in with the anti-radar missiles. That's going to go straight into one of the Tors. The second Tor, is it going to go down? No, it's not. Su-25K is coming in though on that T-72BU, and it just reverses in time in order to avoid being killed, but the Tunguska M turned on and instantly takes out the Su-25, so that's gone down. The other plane got out, which is okay, I guess, but losing an Su-25 is pretty expensive. Now there's T-72 M2. Moderna is actually running back as well now from the HGM fire from those Conquer Zems. So things getting pretty heated here.
Pretty heated. I mean, this is what I was saying before about the kind of mechanized deck. Random may have been able to secure that building, but once this big wave of infantry comes, there's literally nothing you can do to stop it. He's being supported by Saraga's tanks, the BU, and obviously with the OBRs as well. And they just provide a really nice front line because, you know, honestly, there's not much Random Hunter can do to stop that building being retaken by the blue team. You know, not the biggest victory in the world, but small victories for the blue team here.
Yeah, well, one thing that I'm quite surprised about is how Random just let a couple squads of Motorschützen and all their APCs get destroyed going out into the open. The T-72Bs had a field day shooting up those APCs, and that left the Motorschützen stunned, and they were easy targets for the other Motorschützen squads and the BMP-1s. So
Seria 30 is coming in.
Yeah, Seria 30. Is that going to hit the T-90S? It does land one rocket or missile into the front of the T-90S, taking it down to 4 health. But the T-90S going to remain alive for now, and already a resupply coming in to repair that. But the engagement between Motorschützen squads in the middle here seems to be favouring Alexander, as he does seem to have more support firing upon the opposing units. And down in this bot side, not too much going on. Random's just set up a small line of infantry to secure further on in Charlie, and it looks like he's brought some APCs to the bottom side to make sure he's not being flanked down there. Command infantry heading into Charlie now to negate this +1 income lead for Alexander and Saraga, and that's going to leave Alexander and Saraga on about 54 points ahead of Random and Hunter.
It is definitely, and Alexander here using the tried and tested BMP-1 Motorschützen push. With some of that tank support again from Saraga. Trying to push quite hard, but unfortunately this one squad of Motorschützen in the bottom side of Delta is a bit alone, and well, may actually, yeah, it does take down an enemy squad of Motorschützen though, so he has paid himself off, I suppose.
Yeah, we've got more BMP-1s moving towards Spetsnaz with a couple of units of Motorschützen, and he is making quite a lot of ground still, Alexander, into Delta, but once those Motorschützen squads die, there's nothing to follow them up currently, as there's no reinforcing infantry on its way. So he's got to be careful that he doesn't lose those and then cede all of those tree lines to the enemy, because that's going to make it quite hard to distinguish which have troops and which do not. Because obviously if you have your own troops in a certain tree line, you know that there's unlikely to be enemies, because you would otherwise spot them.
I have to say, I'm impressed by this one-man Motorschützen squad that's still going down in the bottom side of Delta. Those BMP-1s managed to save it from the enemy Motorschützen, and now it's managed to panic the enemy Spezialaufkläder, I think is the pronunciation. And it's not dead yet. It's still going.
Yeah, it's still firing away with that RPK because it's engaged at machine gun range. Only one of the soldiers from the recon squad is actually firing back, which means that he's got plenty of chance to stay alive. Oh, the T-72B OBRs there, just above the Moshusen squad. Side shot the T-72 M1 Wilk that came in to reinforce, and that's down to 1 health on that road as it continues to head towards the recon squad. The Moshusen finally dies. That T-72 left out in the open currently is going to reverse towards that small hedgerow, and things going to go back to quiet.
Well, you say that, but have a look down on the bot side. I think we've seen a really big overinvestment in tanks in the mid. Random and Hunter have... that is, I think, 4 super heavies, and an M1 Wilk. And in the bottom side, M. Alexander is free to push up here. There's only 1 squad of LSTR-40 between him and Charlie.
Yeah, that is very true. It looks like these small vehicles that are coming around the bottom side as well are going to start to discover that there isn't much defending that either. You can see the PT-76B there moving forwards with its good recon, and that's going to slowly figure that out. The LSTR-40 will be able to take out the BMP-1s that are probing towards Charlie though if they come close, and that they're quite a long way still from the command infantry squad, so that might stay safe for now, but things definitely catching up to WTF in space in the middle, because they are kind of getting surrounded almost, or at least it looks like it. The PT-76Bs that Alexander is using is quite an interesting unit because we haven't seen them very often, but we've got a few of them on the bottom side of Delta, and they're sort of shooting into the side of these infantry squads and other APCs and vehicles, and that's allowing the Moshusen, who have now come up to reinforce, to start to make some progress across these fields towards the forests.
It definitely does. I mean, it looks as well that while we're looking in bot side, both of Seraga's tanks were killed, his OBRs, and his BU very low right now, but making good use of these anti-tank planes to try and kind of stem the tide and make sure they have some capability to deal with this Moderna and these BUs.
Wow, the Seria 30 there is going to go down to the overwhelming AA of Hunter. It probably should have gone down sooner, but quite a few shots actually missed. So the Seria 30 there did not get the kill onto the T-72 OBR, as it did lose line of sight and then got shot down. So not a very good trade at all with that aircraft. But now we got these PT-76s moving forwards. SU-25 comes in with a cheeky shot towards the T-72BU as it peeks out of the forest, and it looks like even more anti-ground planes coming in. SU-22 M4P just got a couple of wonderful radar kills onto radar AA.
It did, and that T is going to escape with 1 HP, so a little tragic for the air defense network of WTF, that's for sure.
Yeah, so we've got some BMP-1s moving through to take on some of the infantry that's left out in the open there, and they just did a ton of damage to that Moshusen squad. Going to bring them down very low. We've got the T-72BU up in Echo, probing once again, but bumping into a couple of squads of Conquer's M's, so Seraga's not going to want to continue to push that forwards for very long. Down in this bottom side, the Topaz 2AP is very close to discovering the command infantry, but that only has, well, it just ran out of fuel, so it's not actually going to catch up and find out where that is, although it might have given the game away from Hunter moving that out of the forest there. As soon as that Topaz got close, the command infantry was moved away, so that might tell Alexander that there was the command infantry in that forest, and you can kind of tell by the amount of time that the command the command point is neutralized for how far the infantry actually traveled. So it might be quite easy for them to predict now where that command infantry went.
Yeah, that's definitely true, especially considering that there's only really 1 tree line they could have gone to in that time without being in sight of the Dushka. But we did see as well, one of M. Alexander's M2 Wilks going down in Gulf, trying to duke out with a BU in the middle area, which is a bit of a mistake. But look at this. This BU and Moderna, and well, both these Modernas and this BU in the bottom side of Delta, the red team, are very damaged. And luckily they have a resupply here to try and repair them, but that BU is also out of ammunition. I think it had a an ammo leak, maybe? I'm not sure. Either that or it's just been cutting down swaths of moat shoots and...
Yeah, I think it's been in that forest for so long that it did just use up all its ammunition naturally. It does have the like 9 rounds per minute there, so, and it only has 24 ammunition, so it's not going to take too long if that's in combat for that long to use up all its ammunition, which I think is exactly what happened. And they must have been cutting down a lot of the moat shoots and a lot of the other tanks. It was engaging one of Seraga's T-72 BUs for a little while as well. So yeah, it did just use up all its ammunition. Not going to get resupplied just yet. I think Random's waiting for another truck to arrive in order to do that. But some progress being made now by Alexander and Seraga. Seraga's actually using these T-62s and moving them forwards. They only have 3 HE power, but they only cost 25 points, so quite good against going up things like the moat shoots, which only have 14 AP power on their rockets, because they can sort of absorb a lot of that damage and do 3 points of health damage to the enemy infantry squads.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see them used, because to be honest, they're not too great, I think, because they have a very slow rate of fire. That's one of the big things. They only have 6 rounds a minute, on top of their poor armor, poor damage, and poor range as well. But, you know, Saraga has obviously decided that they have a place in his deck, and they seem to be working pretty well as kind of a meat shield tank just to go and duke out with the enemy infantry.
Yeah, it seems like he's almost using them directly to counter the like moat shootsen and so on, because he literally moved them forwards in like a squad of 4 and was just, you know, trying to run them down, and it seems to have worked. He has taken out all of the squads in the moat shootsen in the area, and there is only a couple of recon squads remaining now for Random. And now it seems that Seraga has spotted there is not much left. T-72 M2 Moderna moving forwards, gets side shot by 2 moat shootsen squads. That is painful. That Moderna is stunned, going to get hit by another rocket. The T-72B OBR is approaching. If that can get line of sight, so that's going to be a one-shot kill, and the Moderna is dead. So that is one Moderna down for Random.
Especially if this other Moderna goes down as well, because if... well, as I say, that Random using the kind of signature Random move and reversing it into his own smoke, which is always beautiful to see, but a nice save by Random, because if that Moderna had stayed out in the open there, that BE would have torn into shreds along with the other fire from the OBR 1989.
Yeah, I love this move that Random does with the smoke. Actually, he loves to use the like mortars to do smoke and then like reverse into them. He's done it a lot to avoid like HGM planes in the past, and this time round he does it just to avoid being taken out by the T-72 BU, as a lot of these tanks approach from Seraga. And we've also got some reserve infantry being chucked in there from Alexander to basically reveal the location of the moat shootsen and draw their fire, while the tanks fully engage them from range and do a lot of damage with the 3 and 4 HE power.
Yep, definitely very nice, and these moat shootsen very good against infantry, but unfortunately when you have this many tanks shooting at you and transports as well, they just don't last particularly that long, unfortunately.
What I found interesting then was the Buratino strike from Hunter. He attacked the small town just underneath Echo, but it doesn't seem like he's going to follow it up with an attack, which seems a bit of a waste of Buratino ammunition. He probably should be focusing that on where all these tanks are attacking in Delta, because if he could stun some of these tanks, it would definitely slow down the momentum of that attack, and a lot of this reserve infantry would die if a Buratino fired at it.
Well, not just that, but a BU might be a higher class tank than a Moderna by a small margin, but if you stun that BU, the Moderna will absolutely destroy it, because a panicked BU will not hit many of its shots. And well, as I said, he's duking out with a T-90S, but it's just something to take into account. Probably the biggest power of the Buratino, really.
Yeah, SU-22 M4P comes in, takes out one of the OSA AKs, but the radar is turned back on as it turns away. And it looks like the SU-22 M4P, will it just get away? Yes, it will.
Oh, we missed that BU. The BU killed the T-90 that's duking out in the bottom right side of Echo. That's a really nice kill for Seraga.
Yeah, I did see that engagement going on just between that recon squad there, and Yeah, the Nuwa did miss its missile onto the Su-22 M4P, so that got out alive. Also, the Su-25T got out alive as well. We do have some Granatamet AGS-17s coming in for Alexander. Interesting choice of units again. I think they know something we don't, because a lot of these units we have not seen in the game yet.
We haven't, but those AGS-17s have been pretty well known for a while. I mean, they're definitely good, but I think it's one of those things you'd only take in a mech deck, because I think there's more valuable things to take in your deck.
Yeah, well, interesting. We've got a MiG-25 PD coming in. Missed a lot of its missiles, but does manage to help shoot down that Su-22. And that is quite a nice kill there for that MiG-25 PD. Now, the MiG-25 PD, I don't actually like that aircraft very much because it's very limited. Once it's fired those 4 missiles, it's very vulnerable and often doesn't make it out if you're like in an air-to-air engagement. If those initial missiles don't hit their targets. The command unit in Charlie, that's going to be taken down by the Moat Schutzen, and that's going to give a +3 lead now to ML, Alexander and Sarago. Yeah, we should look at the overall game, because currently it looks like things are really swinging in Steel Balalaika's favour. They've got the +3 conquest lead in terms of income. They did manage to secure both Echo and Delta, and this basically means that Random and Hunter are going to have to do something about this, because otherwise they are going to fall so far behind in this game.
They definitely are going to fall very far behind, and it kind of just goes to show just how effective it can be if you use your tanks correctly. Like Saraga has put on a really nice display with his BU and with his OBRs as well. Really, really nice to see, and kind of a bit sad really for Random and Hunter, because they've just been pushed completely back out of Delta. They do still have a bit of position on Echo, so they probably need to try and get a CV in there, which we do see coming up, to try and stem the blood loss. But, I mean, down in Charlie is just a complete rout, really.
Yeah, but yeah, this UAZ should stop the bleeding a bit into Echo. The Buratino from Hunter getting very close to the UAZ of Saraga. So that could have been a kill there, and they could have taken some points back. But what I did like to see was that finally Hunter threw some Buratino ammunition into Delta, and that has allowed these VDV to get quite far up towards the Granatamet squads and the Moat Schutzen. But down this bottom side, it's going to be very hard for Hunter and Random to make back ground, as Alexander does have the T-72M1 Wilk there. He's got a BMP-1, so if these infantry come out into the open, he might have a good chance of taking them out. Also got the recon there as well, that is going to help spot things. So Bachongsu now coming out from Hunter, another interesting unit that we have not seen much of in this tournament so far.
We haven't. Well, actually, we haven't seen many Sovco decks. I only think we've seen one so far. Probably more than that, but that I can remember. And Bachongsu are just a really nice, kind of cheap line infantry unit that kind of do the job quite well. Unfortunately for them, they do lose to Moat Schutzen, but when you F5B the Moat Schutzen, then the Bachongsu tend to win out.
Yeah, the Bachongsu are great for pinning down enemy squads, but they're not actually going to do too much damage themselves. They really do rely on fire support. It's sort of like the Korean version of the Motostrelki Su-122 push. You use Bachongsu and the ASUs instead. But the Su-25T there coming around, getting a couple of good kills. The Su-27PU going to engage the MiG-25 PD, which stands no chance at all, as it's already used up the majority of its missiles before it even engages the PU. And now we've got some more infantry engagement. Su-22 M4P comes in, gets another wonderful snipe onto another radar unit. It seems as though Random and Hunter are really neglecting their radar micromanagement, which is a bit unfortunate. You'd kind of expect to see better at this level of play, but unfortunately they're getting caught out almost every time by their M4P so far. F5B coming in once again for another low pass onto the Moat Schutzen, but gets shot down almost immediately by the Tunguska-Ram, and the Moat Schutzen do live as they were out of line of sight. T-80A is now supporting in the centre from the top side. T-80A is firing down into the side there, hitting those Bachongsu very hard as the Moat Schutzen reveal them, and that's allowing the T-80s to engage from almost max range and wipe out those squads. The Vigers just get taken out in time to avoid them killing any of these BMP-1s from random before they drop out their troops. But now we see the Granatomet in the bomb side being revealed, and all of these BMP-1s on the road will do a lot of damage there.
They definitely will. We actually saw quite an interesting little exchange down the bot side where Saraga killed one of Hunter's T-72BUs, and then Hunter's other T-72BU came up and got revenge for its brethren there. We can now see repairing, but this is actually a really nice push from Random and Hunter. They definitely have infantry superiority in this side of Delta, and there's not really that much between them. There's the T-72A and there's some more Schutzen and BMP-1s coming in, but this is a little dangerous for Steel Balalaika, although then again, they do still control Echo as well.
Yeah, we did see a MiG-27 come in there, take out a BMP-1, which wasn't the best target, and then get hit down to 1 health from the Noah, which is not ideal. Means the MiG-27 is going to be out of action for a very long time as it repairs. And the T-80As in the topside of Echo were getting repaired a little as they do continue to engage the T-72B OBR from max range with their HGMs. They do manage to hit an HGM in the front armour, and that does take the T-72B down to 3 health, so he's got to be careful that he doesn't lose that. Su-25T almost gets hit by a missile from the Noah, but manages to get away from that. And I think basically what's been happening here is Random and Hunter have been using their Schutzen to basically slowly whittle down Steel Balalaika's forces in Delta. But we do have the engagement between the Su-27PU and the Su-25T, and both planes go down in the end, one of them to AA, and the Su-22M4P comes in. Fortunately, I believe the Noah was turned off, or it missed its missiles, because that Noah managed to stay alive throughout that.
I believe they turned it on, but they only got 1 missile off before the seed plane retreated, and unfortunately the Noah missed. So, bit of a shame there. We see a T-80UM trying to duke it out with the Moderna, which needs to be a bit careful because this Su-25T will not give any quarter.
Yeah, so the Su-25T coming in. I don't believe there's as much long-range radar AA for Saraga on that side. We do see the Su-25T just coming round over and over again. It looks like Alexander's going to rely on this MiG-29 913S to basically take down the Seria 30 there with the help of the Tor and push off the other planes as well. So it was a good reaction there by Alexander to make sure that those aircraft weren't continuing to do as much damage as possible, but we've got to look at this. Yeah, 70% conquest points lead for Alexander and Saraga of Steel Balalaika. They are definitely coming out on top in this game so far with a +3 income lead, and things are not looking much better for Hunter and Random as they continue to push into Delta, but they need to keep the pressure on and try and bring this back before the end of the game.
Well, they can try, but the thing is, as long as they don't control Charlie, it's just a very dire position to be in, because even if they capture Delta and Echo, and completely capture, not just contest, they'll only have an even points gain, so no team will gain any points. So I think what's happened this game is they focus so much on this Delta sector, and don't get me wrong, I think Random Hunter have done a reasonably good job of pushing back, but when you've lost Charlie on this map, you know, so completely as well, it just becomes very, very, very difficult.
Yeah, so it's going to take them ages to neutralize Echo and Charlie after neutralizing Delta. And what they're going to have to do is neutralize them all and then take them all back in order to gain a lead that would maybe be good enough to win them the game by the time that the timer runs out. But they've only got like 14 minutes left on the clock, and there's a lot of pressure on Random and Hunter to really make a move now. The command in Echo was taken out, and that does mean that they are down to the +2 lead now, income lead for Alexander and Saraga. That mainly coming now from this Charlie sector.
Yeah, like I said, taking Charlie is very, very nice for them, but I'm interested to see this Schutzen squad. They've snuck into Bravo, because if they can spot and kill that CV, it will give them an absolutely amazing position, because reinforcements will take so much longer to bring in from Random and Hunter until they recap it.
Oh yeah, there's that little squad of 3 men. Managed to get right round the back there. If it manages to even spot the command infantry of Hunter, then that's going to make a big difference in this game and really finish things off, I think, for Steel Balalaika. They will win this game quite convincingly if they get that kill. And I'm really not sure. It's just been spotted by Random. He's definitely just pinged that. Some more SU-27M action coming out in this one. It's great to see that plane back again, see how many kills it can get this time as it comes back around for another hit towards the T-90S.
And misses both of them.
Both missiles missed, and the Strela 10M cannot return the kill, so SU-27M going to live another day, and we will probably see that in another game sometime. But Random and Hunter are now making a push towards the backside of Delta now. They really want to get rid of this UAZ, and they do. The BMP-1 SP-1 finally decides to hit a shot and directly onto a UAZ of anything. So that was a really nice hit there. Only 35% accuracy, but definitely paying off. And the MiG-27 coming in on the T-90S does not get the kill. Oh, the T-80M finished it off, and Strela 10M not being able to finish off that MiG-27. Not enough radar AA left now for Random and Hunter, but look at all this infantry just getting absolutely wrecked. The Mi-24D's just literally been sitting there, used all of its rocket pods, is continuously just using its Yakbi 12.7mm autocannon or minigun, and there is no close range like anti-air, which is really affecting this push. And now MiG-27 coming in to try and kill the Moderna, does not get the kill, gets shot down by a Strop, and the Su-22 M4P does not get any kills onto any radar AA because there is none left.
Well, there's one Never,
there's one Noah, but I think it was possibly turned off as it came in, so it was turned back on after the M4P turned away.
I have to say that the tank battles have just been going, I think, pretty convincingly in the way of Saraga and M. Alexander. We've just seen just so many super heavies go down for the red team. I mean, obviously the blue side has lost its own share, but I feel like the points are definitely in Balalaika's favour.
Oh, another MiG-27 going down there, trying to kill the 72 M1 Wilk, but missing its shots again, and basically leaving the M1 Wilk with only 1 health of damage. And that's crazy. I mean, they've thrown away, what, 3 MiG-27s now? And it looks like a Su-27M is coming in to try and do the damage. Let's follow this aircraft in. So it's going to engage the M Wilk, and it does take it out finally. So the Su-27M never letting us down so far in this tournament, and getting another tank kill to its name. But a huge comeback at the moment. They've definitely neutralized things, managed to get commands into Echo and Delta, push out Steel Balalaika's command in Echo and Delta as well. Now what they need to do is get their foot back into Charlie or Golf, and that way they can maybe start to bring back the conquest points they need in order to win this game. They have 10 minutes left on the clock. It's going to be interesting to see if they use it, or whether or not Steel Balalaika can come back and really secure the win. But at the moment, things are actually looking in Random and Hunter's favour.
Well, I mean, a little bit, but there is a 458 point lead. You really can't kind of write off just how big a lead that is. And the important thing to note as well is, as long as they still control a little bit of this Delta Forest as well, they can put another CV in. I mean, we do see that MI4 absolutely annihilating that infantry squad of M. Alexander there, I think. But again, as long as they control that little area, if they can get a +1 ticking point lead, I mean, honestly, I think Random and Hunter will need at least a +2 point lead to win in this time frame, I think.
Yeah, indeed. They are going to have to make a difference, and quickly, to their current strategy, because sitting around at the moment is not ideal. They had plenty of opportunity to just keep pushing, honestly, because they had so much momentum with the units they had. But they did lose a lot of units in the push to the far left side of Delta, getting rid of that command unit. Su-25K going straight into a MiG-29 913S, but the MiG's going to get away, it looks like.
Nope.
Or not.
And get taken
Yeah,
down
it
by
did.
the last shot.
It did get taken. It did get out. And the Tunguska actually missed.
Oh, did it get out?
Yeah, it didn't get shot down.
Oh.
And the Su-25 did go down. So a nice kill there, and good job of getting that plane out of there. But it looks like Alexander's had time to get some troops into the left side of Delta. And, well, a UAZ on its way to try and decap Delta and neutralize that once again. Su-25T comes in, picks off an armored vehicle, but it looks like the Tor's not going to be able to finish that off. So it looks like the pressure's on still from Random to still Balalaika. He's pushing forwards with Spadochroniager and the T-72 Moderna. And that's definitely going to be able to fight up against this T-72B OBR. If it can get that stunned, then it's going to do a lot of damage. Yeah, look at that. T-72 M1 Wilk chiming in there as well, providing an extra 2 damage. Now the T-80 UM just above, being engaged by the Moderna and the M1 Wilk. It's gone down to half health already. It looks like the T-72B did get away with 1 HP. Su-27M did miss its missile onto the Moderna and gets away scot-free. But that UAZ has been spotted again, and we do see artillery coming in and stunning it. Oh, the Su-27M to the rescue as it kills the Scot that was about to kill the UAZ, and the Spadochroniager stuck behind the napalm there. So if they can get rid of this recon squad, it should make things a bit easier for Alexander, as he can hide a lot of more of his units reinforcing into Delta. But still things are going to be pretty difficult at this point for Steel Balalaika to get their ground back, although they are going to maintain this 467 point lead.
They are, but Saraga's just moved his CV into range of the Spadochroniager, I think they are, and unfortunately gets taken out. So it's quite a big loss, because again, I feel this game is definitely won by Steel Balalaika at this moment in time. But if they want to confirm this win, they need to get themselves a CV into Delta.
Yeah, well, there's only 6 minutes, 25 seconds left on the clock, and yeah, they're not in a particular rush to get any UAZs into these two sectors, because there's currently no point gain for Random and Hunter, but they are still going to bring one down anyway. Alexander has got a UAZ on the way, and if he can make some ground with these M2 Wilks and the B OBRs, then maybe he can make a difference. But the T-72BU is going to get killed there by the OBR, and that is a nice kill, which is going to allow the BMP-2s and the Motorschützen 90 to continue their push into Delta against what looks like not many forces. I mean, there is the Strop 2 there. He's got to be careful that doesn't rip to shreds his infantry. The BMP-2's got work to do there to try and take that down, and the Su-27M finally goes down.
Not quite as good as Putin's, unfortunately. They need a better
quite
pilot.
As good. Tunguska M there was on point with its shot. Yeah, I think it hit it with 1 infrared missile and then finished it off with the cannon. So nice job there. T-72B OBRs are now trying to take out the T-72BU in Echo, but they've managed to neutralize Delta now to give them the +1 income lead again for Steel Balalaika. And this is currently pushing very hard onto the recon squads of Random and some more Motorschützen and the T-72S. It looks like possibly Random's running out of heavy tanks.
I think so, and also, if I'm not mistaken, we saw a Buratino go down as well. They'd moved that Buratino really far up to the left of that forest edge where the T-72S is, and that's just kind of, a bit of a shame really, because that could have fired directly onto where the CV is, stunned a lot of those units, and again, like I said, I think this game's been won by Steel Balalaika for a decent time now, but you've got to hand it to Random and Hunter. They really are, just trying to finish the game off. They're trying to go right to the last man and go down swinging, really.
Yeah, well, I think if they had made some more ground earlier, just by pushing a lot harder, then they might have been able to get up to Foxtrot quite easily and maybe get a foothold in Foxtrot, which would have made it incredibly hard for Steel Balalaika to come back into the game, as it would have given free rein for Random and Hunter to just walk into Golf and Charlie and finish off those units before any reinforcements arrived. But unfortunately that was not the case. Steel Balalaika putting up a very good defense against WTF into space as they do push towards Foxtrot, and they've managed to hold them back long enough to get this UAZ into Delta, get that +1 lead going again for Steel Balalaika. And I mean, it's just I think Steel Balalaika did what they needed to do early on, and now they've sort of relieved a lot of the pressure they were putting on and allowed Random and Hunter to come back, knowing that there isn't really much they can do for the rest of this game in order to win it back. So it does look like we are going to have a surrender here.
No, 500 points.
Ah, yeah, actually we just hit 500 points. Yeah, good point. And finishing the game there in 36 minutes and 39 seconds, Steel Balalaika come out with the victory against WTF into space. So, as we can see, the kills actually going in favour of Random and Hunter and WTF into space, and I think that pretty much tells us the story of the game, because in the centre they were making a lot of ground. It just didn't mean much because they'd already conceded Charlie.
It did. I mean, Alexander, I think, did a really good job of just continually applying pressure for most of that game. And kind of like the probing attacks he did into the bottom side, I think Charlie is the sector name, really just, I mean, won them the game. That's definitely what won them the game. They realised the weakness down that bottom side for Random and Hunter, because they saw just how many, they brought, probably 4 or 5 at one point, super heavy tanks to Delta, the WTF that is. And when you see that kind of power deployed in one place, you must know that their other sectors are much more undefended. And it just allowed them to really crack up a big lead, because attacking through Delta with all those tanks, I mean, they managed it, but it is very time costing. It's very difficult to attack quickly, because if you don't take a slow, methodical approach, if you don't sort of manage your infantry and tank pushes correctly in Delta, you'll die to infantry because of all the forest cover.
Yeah, so pretty incredible stuff. I really like the tactical play that Steel Balalaika employed in this game in order to win it. They definitely, like you say, noticed the weakness in Charlie. They were probing with those quite rare to see recon units, and they were really paying off. They showed that there wasn't much there, and they pushed some infantry through, only a few infantry units, but there wasn't enough points for Random and Hunter to properly defend and reinforce that. So it really caught them out, and after they'd conceded that area, there's not much way you're going to push that back, as it's a lot of tree lines that are very hard to attack into, and that's exactly the same thing in Delta, and that's why it cost them so much to invest into that, and they just didn't have enough time to really build up enough forces and continue to push. Because if that kill to death sort of discrepancy had got any bigger in that game, at one point Random and Hunter would have been able to completely roll over Surrogate and Alexander, in my opinion. They would have got all the way to Foxtrot, but it just didn't happen. It didn't quite happen. I think the micro from Alexander and Surrogate was just good enough to hold back Random and Hunter's push as they came in, and they were doing, or Random and Hunter were taking a lot of damage as they did make that final push through Delta to the other side to get rid of that UAZ that was counter-capping. So yeah, that basically sums it up, I think.
I mean, I have to say, Steel Balalaika have done a very good job, I think, here of beating WTF into space. But can they do it again on a cold and rainy night in Stoke, Lewis? That's the question.
That is the question.